So now we're going to talk a little bit about the basics of the game of golf. Before I even get started, I want to say that I am truly impressed, and not only impressed, I'm actually inspired by the fact that you are sitting here with me today to prepare for your first round of golf with more than just an old rickety set of golf clubs you found in the back of your garage and the idea that you want to just see what golf is all about, because there's a lot more to it than that. And I'll even go so far as to say that my first time out makes me wish that I was sitting in your seat now. I was about 16. I thought I was the man. I'd been to the driving range once. I'd even taken a lesson. I knew it all. So I'm out there on the golf course. I'm heading out there. And on the second hole, my uncle had to pull me aside and let me know that making a 12 on a hole where I was supposed to make a 4 was not actually a good thing. It certainly wasn't a par, and it certainly wasn't a reason why I should be running across the course, raising the roof and pumping my fist in the air with my putter in the other hand. But that's not all. On the 5th hole, I realized that yelling 4 is not just a joke that we've seen in the movies. And I realized that when a very, very large man from one of the adjacent fairways came over, showed me the enormous welt above his knee, asked me if there was a problem, and asked me if I wanted to meet him in the parking lot after our round so we could reconcile our differences. Because apparently the drive that I hit 250 yards right landed right on his leg, and because I didn't yell 4, he had no idea the ball was coming at him. So, congrats to you for coming in here and learning a little bit about the game before you head out there. Now, we are going to get into the definition of a par and a birdie, and when we yell 4 and when we don't, and the rules of golf a little bit later on. But today I want to talk a little bit about the check-in process that everybody goes through when they go out to a golf course, because it is absolutely 150% nothing like going to the movie theater and buying a ticket and getting a seat and sitting down to watch a movie. Nothing like it, okay? Going out to play golf, checking in to play around a golf is a lot like walking on a battlefield. You have people shouting orders from all corners of the land, the clubhouse, the pro shop, the first tee, the beverage cart, sometimes even the restroom. I've even heard people yelling things from there. You have to abide by the most stringent time frame that you've ever heard of. And if you're not on time, well, you may not be playing golf even though you've already paid for it. And what's even worse than that, there are people who only care about their golf games speeding around at 25 to 30 miles an hour in golf carts, not paying attention to where you're walking at all. So if you're looking for a map, well, you better watch out for the golf carts first, because you're probably going to get your feet run over and you're never going to play the game again. So, the check-in process. You've pulled into the parking lot, you've parked your car, you've pulled your clubs out of the trunk, you've carried them up, you've loaded them on the back of a golf cart, or maybe you've handed them to some 19-year-old kid who thinks that he deserves a $10 tip for walking 3 steps and putting your bag on the back of a golf cart, which you could do anyway. And then you walk into what's known as the clubhouse. And the clubhouse has many things in it, among them the 19th hole, which we've heard all the jokes about the 19th hole, and everybody loves to go there. But where you're headed is the pro shop, because the pro shop is where, well, as the name would say, the pros hang out. It's also where you have all the golf clubs and the golf towels and golf shoes and golf balls and everything related to golf. And you walk up to the counter, and there's usually a young guy or gal behind the counter who will look at you and say, okay, so what's your tee time? Now, this is where most of us freeze, myself included. A tee time, what is a tee time? All right, so a tee time is the time that we are scheduled to hit our very first shot of the day on the very first hole. Now, there are occasions where we may just walk down to the golf course, and if there aren't many people there, we would just walk out casually to the first hole and swing away. But for the most part, we are going to have to schedule a time to get started because there are that many people who want to play at 8:30 a.m. on a Saturday morning. So we tell the person behind the counter that our tee time is, I don't know, let's say 11:15 a.m. Chris, Stephanie, Dave, Eric, we're a foursome. We're going out at 11:15 a.m. We hand over our credit cards, and just before he swipes them, we usually have to put a little more money in our account because golf is somewhat expensive, unless we're playing a municipal course, in which case we're probably not even playing at all. And then we get a receipt, and we're told to see the starter. Another one. My first time, somebody told me to see the starter, and I looked at the guy behind the counter. I said, listen to me, pal. I'm going to go see who I want to see, okay? I got people I want to play with. I'll go see who I want to see on the golf. He said, no, hold on a second, Eric. He said, no, you need to see the starter because the starter's the guy outside who's going to tell you when you can start playing. I said, oh, okay, my mistake. So we walk outside. We go find the starter. Now, the starter is that gentleman or gentlewoman who is going to be in charge of making sure that all of the children, golfers, get off the first tee and hit their first shot at the time that they are supposed to. Believe it or not, in this day and age, we still need somebody to tell us what time we're supposed to start playing golf. Yeah. So we hand the starter our receipt. He says, okay, that's great. Let's say it's about 10:30 a.m. He might say to us, all right, well, you got some time. If you want to go to the driving range, it's right over there. If you want to take some practice putts, the putting green is right there. Just come back around 11:10, 5 minutes before you get ready to start, and I'll send you on your way. If it was 11:10 when we handed our receipt to the starter, he'll probably mutter some expletive and say, all right, are you ready to go? All right, because go, you're ready to go. Head out there. So, point being, we don't want to get there too late. Now, if it's about 11 o'clock, the starter might be kind of friendly. He might say, well, you don't have much time, you got 15 minutes. If you want to go take a couple putts, go right ahead. And then, right around 11:15, we'll hear, all right, the Eric foursome, you're on the tee. And we'll go up there, and we'll hit our very first shot of the day. And we'll engage in the most frustrating game that was ever invented. That's more or less the check-in process. From the car parking, to the golf clubs on the cart, God bless you, to the pro shop, to the see the starter, to the teeing off. Now, clearly, I have paraphrased this to the nth degree, all right? Many things can come up in this process. And I'm going to open the floor now for some question and answers about the things that concern you about the whole check-in process, because I know you're probably going to go out and play your first round of golf long before you ever come back to see me again. And I just want to make sure that everybody's walking out there feeling confident, feeling composed, and more concerned about having fun than they are about where to walk and who to talk to. So that's this check-in process. The next time we get together, we're going to go through a little bit more about the first couple holes and what you can expect when you do actually get out onto the golf course.